Hello everyone, welcome to week 11. Let me backtrack to last week's discussion just for a few minutes. And this is the one where you're talking about common culture, sensus communis, and humor. And I asked you to go to YouTube and find a clip of a stand-up comedian's work, which you all did pretty well. And as you watch some of your classmates' postings, you probably noticed that many of the stand-up comedians use ethnic humor. And that's where we're headed this week. So Critchley's our guide. And like he says right here, humor is a form of culture insider knowledge and might indeed be said to be function like a linguistic defense mechanism. Its ostensive untranslatability endows native speakers with a palpable sense of their cultural distinctiveness or even superiority. In this sense, having a common sense of humor is like sharing a secret code. That's one of the important bits he has to say in this chapter, chapter 5 for this week. And he kind of gets it going here where he talks about, in a way, studying humor is like studying anthropology. And that probably dawned on you as we started getting into culture last week, cultural anthropology, one of the behavioral sciences, by the way. So give this a read. And notice that superiority theory of comedy comes in big time in ethnic humor. He even mentions it, by the way, in chapter 1 when he mentions that particular theory of comedy. Now, let me take you to this week's discussion. And you'll see what we're up to this week. Now you got to find an ethnic joke. And again, what he says about ethnic humor, it shows superiority theory of comedy often. But we don't want to say anything that's going to be offensive to any ethnic group. And also we're studying the way humor is structured. So you don't really need to name the ethnic group for this one. That's why right there, you leave it blank. Anything that gives away the ethnicity of the group, the name of the group, or anything that automatically associates with that group. And then explain the setup line, otherwise known as the premise, right? And the punchline, the illogical conclusion, contrary to the real conclusion, if it shows what he's saying in the chapter. And you just saw the chapter. And then your response is to not fill in the actual ethnic group or racial group, but come up with a made-up, non-existent ethnicity, kind of a nonsense word, and see how much the superiority theory applies. I think you'll be surprised when you do this one. Other assignments, of course, you're going to have the reading questions. No surprise there. But also coming up big time, we have extended argument analysis number 2. And by the way, that's on the grades page. Here is number 3. And it's the last one of the semester. There is a couple of short writings coming up sooner than this. Actually, 3 if you count the proposal for this. You notice the proposal's due May 6th. Not huge, 200 words. Here's the nub of it. a little bit longer than extended argument analysis number 2. It should be. It's a little more involved. You're going to use more than one chapter from Critchley and probably a chapter or 2 from Weston. Now you could pick a TV series, motion picture, or written text. If it's from a book, contact me and I'll provide you with the book list that you can choose from. And of course, here's where we're going to get into the theories of comedy, right? Theories of humor. And if you like what you've been seeing in stand-up comedy since last week, here's your chance to run with that. Just take one stand-up comedian's work and look at the logical fallacies, because any joke is a logical fallacy. If it was totally logical, it wouldn't be funny. But also the types of comedy. So here again, the theories of humor, but also other chapters. So don't try to do it all with Critchley's chapter 1. It won't get you very far. And you know your way around Western pretty well at this point in the course. And I'm going to give you some tips on developing introduction paragraphs, ones that are a little more sophisticated than what you've been writing, just a little. Also about using a new piece of punctuation called ellipses for shortening quotations. And remember, never let a sentence be just a quotation. Always introduce in the same sentence. And oh, by the way, as another rule, paraphrase often, quote seldom. Only when something's really quotable, like a joke or something, do you need to quote it. And that paragraph counter argument, that's optional this time, although you can use it if you want to. You don't have to. Second extended argument essay, I gave you some do's and don'ts for this one. And you will definitely need a works cited page, of course. And the design statement that comes after the works cited page. And of course, better conclusions. And let me touch on this. I see some of you using Grammarly. I can tell by the way it reads. And a couple of you have used ChatGPT or Google's version of a generative AI. Do not copy and paste. I can tell the way it reads. I also have software for detecting it. Feel free to use it for outlines or to get feedback on your work, though. That's where it really is useful. But your own thinking and your own words are a lot more authentic. And believe me, they read better than robot words. Okay, there is an extra credit opportunity for this. It hasn't arrived yet. It will come up as we get closer to the due date. And you'll see what you've seen before here on grading, the late option, and submitting the essay. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to ask them. And I should mention that you'll want to write a 200-word, 2-paragraph proposal first, a week before this is due, which gives me an idea that you've made a choice and you've got this going. But also I can tell if you really understand the assignment and if you have a plan worked out, at least in your head, on how to respond to it. Okay? Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you on the discussions page Wednesday.